in 2020, our board policy was out of date and hadn't been updated. And I mean, how do you say? It hadn't been updated authentically in probably 10 years. And then at the time, I worked with the Neola rep, Mark, and it was really kind of that relationship with him that helped then move us forward into working through updates, and then ultimately not only Neola updates, but then board updates and board policy. So in 5 years' time, we've updated all of our policy with the help of Neola. We've updated all of our administrative guidelines with the help of Neola, and our policies, our handbooks, protocols, and practices are all aligned to our administrative guidelines as well as our policy. So nothing is out of alignment because of Neola. Being prepared ahead of time, knowing what we had to look at, and we did that exchange a lot through email. So he would be able. So when we sat down, and we typically sat down, if I recall, more through like Google Meet or Zooms, we were just very constructive. And then also we met in person as well. So we had all of those modalities being utilized, but really just kind of that innate acknowledgement of we need to work on, let's just say 55-17, right? Knowing that we had 55-17, 55-20, trying to remember all the numbers, 55-34, whatever, right? So we would sit down and we would look at those, and we could really hammer through them quickly. And what I like about Neola is that you have a certain basic foundation that you have to have, but then you have the options that can be customized to fit your district. It's like having a board policy department down the hallway without being down the hallway, right? So anytime I have questions, I can reach out. You know what I mean? We get the update. In fact, right before we got on the call, I was looking at a special release about the executive orders. So in that vein, I think that it's nice to have, I wouldn't call it protection, but it includes protection, but it's nice to have that continuum of awareness that you're not going to have running a school district. So that to me is the number one thing. Where I'm at, there is an underlying culture. They always think less is more. And I always, okay, that's fine if that's what you like. However, I always feel like with less, you spend more time on the phone with an attorney, right, than you would if you just had the policy that was explicit and detailed enough to not have to make the call to the attorney. How can being in alignment with legal codes, laws, updates, and judicial decisions be too? I mean, that's what I like best, is that I always know that we're cognizant of what's going on. I guess my point would be, if I don't have Neola, who's going to tell me?